Hello and welcome to another edition of the Fadu Network News Review. Today, 4th of October 2019. My name is Amar Wali. 7th of October rather, 2019. My name is Amar Wali. We'll be talking to the leader of Gambia Action Party, retired General Lamin Bojang in Russia. He was selected by the party as their flag bearer ahead of the election in this country. And the Gambia government has also given $50 million to the Truth, Reconciliation and Reparation Commission to pay reparations to the victims of the past human rights violations. The German handed over 1.3 million euro power stabilization, and Drug Law Enforcement Agency call on the nightclub owners to wary the drug traffickers. But before all that, I will start with the papers, and the Standard newspaper is reporting that Dabo rebutes VP extension of Barrow's mandate. The leader of the United Democratic Party, Ousainou Dabo, has rebutted Vice President Dr. Aissatou Toure's claims that the 3 years coalition agreement was discussed and finalized in the first cabinet meeting when President Adama Barrow took over office. There was no cabinet meeting on the 3 years mandate of Barrow as claimed by VP Aissatou Toure, and the claim that we did agree that Barrow will serve 5 years is not accurate since there was no such meeting in cabinet. I think she made a mistake because I was at the meeting, but nothing like that was discussed. You can ask any other minister, how can you even endorse that without PDOIS, who are very important constituency of the coalition, he told member caring program aired on Home Digital FM. Amul Nyasi accuses Barrow of ignoring the problems in Fonyi. Musa Amul Nyasi, the opposition APRC Fonyi Councillor National Assembly member, has accused Adama Barrow's government of turning a blind eye to all what is happening in Fonyi during the State of the Nation address. Nyasi made these accusations on Tuesday at the National Assembly in Banjul during the debate by lawmakers on President's State of the Nation address. The President deliberately ignored all what is happening in Fonyi. He assumed office in February, and the first casualty of his government was in my constituency in Kanilai, Haruna Jatta, which I have not heard the President ever mention since 2017 to date. Minority leader urged Barrow to respect the National Assembly. The minority leader of the National Assembly, Samba Ba, has called on President Adama Barrow to respect the Constitution as well as take the parliamentary questions and concerns very seriously. And Brufut demand justice over land deprivation. The Task Force Committee, members of Brufut Sports Committee and the Brufut Diaspora Committee and the interim VDC subcommittee on Saturday called a press conference to highlight what they call a serious and growing state of deprivation of Brufut native lands, as well as the demanding of judicious usage of the remaining lands of the community benefits. The press conference was held at the football field, and it was the bonafide contention between the new authorities and the youths of the town who want to use it as a recreational center. And Standard is also reporting that Gambia, Japan signed 2.3 million food assistance. And on the Standard, on the Point newspaper, the Point is reporting that Edward Francis Small Teaching Hospital, of every 6 operations per month, 4 are amputated due to diabetes. The officials of the hospital have declared that out of every 6 operations due to a non-communicable diseases held at the Edward Francis Small Teaching Hospital per month, 4 are amputated due to diabetic. The Deputy Chief Medical Director, Charles Roberts, said the figure is even rising at an average 9 operations every month. That's all we have for you on the papers. We'll now turn to the story that the government of the Gambia has given $50 million to the Truth, Reconciliation and the Reparation Commission to pay reparations to the victims of human rights violations of the former dictator Yahya Jammeh. The Minister of Justice today held a press conference where the development was announced.
Today, almost 1 year into the TIRC public hearings, the government is fulfilling its promise to grant reparations for the victims of human rights violations and abuses within the mandate of the TRRC. Therefore, on behalf of His Excellency Adama Barrow, President of the Republic of the Gambia, and on behalf of his entire government, it is with great pleasure that I announce to you the decision of the government of the Gambia to contribute to the TRRC Victims Trust Fund an initial amount of $50 million with immediate effect. For your information, this $50 million is being paid out from the proceeds of sale of former President Jammeh's assets, which are currently being sold in accordance with the recommendations of the Janneh Commission. It has become increasingly apparent to the government, based on revelations at the TRRC over the past 1 year, that former President Jammeh was a central pillar in the infrastructure of terror and human rights abuses that were unleashed on ordinary Gambians and others under his leadership. Consequently, the government deems it most fitting and just that reparations for his victims should be granted directly from his wealth and assets. Hence, the payment of this $50 million from the proceeds of sale of his assets. Let me take this opportunity to thank all those ordinary Gambian men and women in the country and the diaspora for their individual and collective acts of generosity and altruism towards the welfare of the victims. Finally, the government also takes this opportunity to reiterate its strong support for and firm commitment and gratitude to the TRRC, all the commissioners and staff, under the wise leadership of the Chair, Dr. Lamin J. Sise, for the great contributions you continue to make towards establishing the truth about our dark past and encouraging national reconciliation in the process.
Justice Minister Abubakar Ba Tambadou there. The Federal Republic of Germany last Wednesday handed over €1.3 million power stabilization project to Gambia's national water and electricity company, NAWEC. The event was held at the Ministry of Petroleum in Bijlo. More on this report.
This project has given us the tools and the technology, and we must embrace technology because technology and innovation is the future. Now, I know that may sound very far-fetched to many of you because the reality we're facing every single day is that of firefighting almost, reacting to situations, trying to fix problems rather than planning ahead strategically. But we must believe, we must look to the future with optimism, and we must appreciate and understand that technology is central to the success of NAWEC. So we must embrace change. We must shift away from this is how we used to do it to a new mindset that embraces the good of what we used to do and have achieved to this very day, but also embrace new things that can move us beyond where we are today.
It was a political visit. It was a promise that Germany would be a partner of the Gambia. And I'm happy to say that we kept the promise. And this project here is one of the elements I'm which are part of this project. And I arrived from Mansa Konko because when the federal president were here, we were also visiting the GTTI, the Gambian Technical Training Institution. And yesterday we inaugurated in Mansa Konko, a part of this, a skill development school where on solar equipment and on agricultural machinery work can be done, vocational training is possible. These were two promises that were done during the visit, and I'm very happy that now, a bit later, we can see that this partnership is not only in words, but it's also in deeds.
This GIZ project emanated from the visit of the German president to the Gambia in December 2017, who pronounced Germany's readiness to support the government of the Gambia to stabilize the electricity supply. Within months, the project was conceptualized by GIZ experts with inputs from NABEC, followed by the swift implementation of the project, which began in earnest in May 2018. The scope of the project focused on 4 key areas, which were actually ably narrated by the engineer, but just for summary, for us, the laymen, I need to give it 4 points, just to reiterate it. 1, installation of independent communication infrastructure and data collection on the transmission and distribution network, linking the Brikama and Koto power stations, and all 33/11 kV substations in the GBA. 2, provision of quality testing equipment for oil and lubricants, which the MD elaborated, and the importance of that. Procurement of more than 1,000 kVA generator for peak saving. And 4, capacity building for NABEC staff on the operation, protection, as well as maintenance of the new communication system.
Hey, what are you doing here?
I'm going to replace my AfriCell 3G SIM card.
Why use a 3G SIM card when you have a 4G phone? Replace your 3G SIM card today for the real AfriCell 4G SIM and receive 1 GB of internet data for free.
Now, the Drug Law Enforcement Agency of the Gambia on Monday called on nightclub owners in the country to be wary of the activities of the drug traffickers. The agency said nightclubs and restaurants should not allow drug dealers to use their premises to sell or traffic drugs. The spokesperson of the agency was speaking at a news conference held today in Pipeline.
It relates to the open abuse of drugs, especially within the tourism development area. This is something that the management of the agency noted with concern. And then also, as part of our non-enforcement mechanism that has to do with drug demand reduction, we decided to engage those who are responsible for the management of these premises, these nightclubs, or restaurants, or business entities within that area. We made it very clear to them that this is something that will not be allowed, that cannot be condoned. And they also were very much cooperative in the course of our discussion, because it's to the interest of all of us. Because what we are looking at is that in as much as we promote and encourage investment, we in no way want to tolerate or condone any activity or business that undermine what holds our society together. And that one thing is drugs. We all know the various harms and effects of drugs across the sphere of society. So this was made very much clear to them, and then we discussed on our way forward. And from here, we also want to make this known to almost everybody that Section 40 and 41 respectively of the Drug Control Act prohibits the person who is allowed with the management of any premise to allow or falter any such activity to take place within their premise. If anyone, according to these two sections, that's 40 and 41, is found abusing or selling or engaged in any drug-related activity, it shall be deemed to have been permitted with the consent of the person who is concerned in the management of such businesses. And it will not stop at that. They could also be liable for forfeiture, and they could also be charged for permitting. So therefore, Let us take note of this and let us act very responsibly. Let us promote our business. Let's promote our business ideas. Let us market our institutions, give it a unique face or unique identity, but not in a way that promotes the open abuse of drugs. In another similar but separate engagement, operatives of the JAIF, that is Joint Airport Interdiction Task Force, stationed at the airport, effected an arrest over the weekend. The person is a Bissau national who was traveling to Las Palmas. And this is important to know that this is the third of such case within this month. Previously, 2 other Bissau nationals, all with valid European passport, were also nabbed at the Jobora border crossing point. So this person also is arrested with about 105 pellets of cocaine. He's presently in custody while the investigation continues. So this shows that the West African sub-region remains vulnerable, and we all have to be on heightened alert.
Dominique America wala Europe wala yone mobile muy jël ay weer Smartphone House ñëw pour rek noppal leen looy def rek mooy nga def payment ñu deliver phone bi tey.
Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam.
Man de sama jëkkër moo ma boole ak yéen Mohamed Ndiaye.
Mohamed Ndiaye.
waaw Sweden.
maa ma waxamoon tey si suba.
waaw daf ma call suma téléphone bi yaaxu mu ne ma demal Smartphone House ma ne ko waaye loolu gaaw na ni mu ne ma demal rek.
moom utal na la fi benn. mooy iPhone 8 Plus.
masha Allah.
ak Smartphone House emuñ ci jaay mobile rek waaye dañuy jaay computer ay yére ak daala yi nga xam ne rek original lañ ba tax nag ku bugg a xam fi nga xam ne mooy Smartphone House da ngaa dem Kairaba Avenue opposite fi nga xam ne mooy Barcelona shop. Dominique America.
That was the spokesperson for the Drug Law Enforcement Agency, Osman Sediba there. Now, on the line from Russia, I have a retired General Lamin Bojang, who was chosen as the flag bearer for the Gambia Action Party. Mr. Bojang, welcome to the FATO Network.
Thank you very much, Mr. Wali, for having me.
I just want to clarify something. You were declared the flag bearer of the party at the press conference. Were you informed before, or it was a surprise to you as well?
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Wali. With regards to your caption, that is exactly what happened. I was really surprised and equally shocked to be told that I am, or to hear that I am the flag bearer of Gambia Action Party. It was a surprise, but also a shock to me.
So when they told you that you are the flag bearer, you accepted immediately, or it took you some time?
No, yeah, it took me some time. It took me some time. Imagine that you are, trusted to shoulder such responsibility. Especially a responsibility that came to you with shock and surprise. Definitely, you would like to embrace it, but equally, you cannot do that because, it will be serious or deadly if you accept such honors, without consulting. So that was exactly what I did. When I learned that, because actually I left Banjul and arrived here on Monday. And when I arrived here on Monday, I, was having my rest because of the jet lag and stuff like that, because I came with serious flu. So, and I was told by friends that my name was mentioned, and then the social media, the TVs and stuff like that. So I had to consult the party leaders, my wife, my family, my parents, and friends, and, loved ones.
Okay.
So that was what we did.
Why did you accept this, to be the flag bearer of this party?
Yeah, like I said, after consulting all these people that I've mentioned, we have agreed that this is it will be a very difficult task. But like I said earlier on, in every difficulty, there are opportunities. Politics is a domain that I am not familiar with. Politics is a domain that I don't am not conversant with. So, but the people that I consulted, honestly, are people that are okay with politics, and they understand the geography of politics in the Gambia. They understand the climate of politics in the Gambia, and they based on the advice that they gave me and the inspiration, the advice that I received from them motivated me to accept the challenge, because I know that it is not impossible to.
Okay, Mr. Bojang, retired General Mr. Lamin Bojang, you accepted an offer or job that was given to you without prior notification. And do you know that whether this thing was done in a transparent manner, or they just handpick and give it to you? So if, as somebody who believes in democracy, why do you accept such appointments?
Yeah, exactly. I think you also read it. You read in my mind. These are some of the things that I ask. If you are to accept such honors, you also have to clear your mind. And one thing that struck my mind when I first heard the announcement, or when I was informed, was how did this thing all come about? But I was reliably informed that the executive sat over the issue, and a unanimous, decision was taken from there, because that is where everything is going to start. Like as if I knew that somebody someday is going to ask me this type of question. So I was told, because I was in there, I was told that the process was transparent. The process followed the due course of the law. The process was also in line with the party rules and regulations, and as a result, I accepted that yes, that was the reality. So I have no doubt I have no cause to doubt them. So based on that, or based on this reason, I accepted the honor.
You are the deputy head of the mission at the Gambian embassy in Russia, and this thing came at a time when you are serving there. But I realized that you tendered your letter of resignation recently. But you talk to most people in the Gambia, they will tell you that with the past experience with military officers, either small ranking officers or senior military officers, they are not ready for military officers again. In Gambia, we have seen Jammeh 22-year rule. You go to other countries, even in Mali, Amadou Haya Sanagu, Musa Dadis Camara, even Augusto Pinochet. Do you think Gambians will have confidence like you, a military officer, to lead this country again?
I think the questions would be, why not we give a military officer an opportunity? Why not we give the military officer a chance to lead? We have to understand that with due respect to Jammeh's rule, the regime came through a military coup, and Gambians gave them an opportunity to lead the Gambia for this number of years. And we have witnessed unprecedented development, and under his watch. So to say that Gambians were going to compare me, with that rule, I think that will not be fair, because these people that you have just cited, to pass through or to be a retired military officer and wants to become a leader of government, I don't think that is a problem. The problem is there are civilians who are classified as dictators, because that is where the question is leading to. There are civilians that are classified as dictators. There are military officers who are really, for instance, retired generals today. Like, for instance, in Nigeria, we have General Buhari, who is living a democratically elected, and then he's ruling, based on the democratic principle. So to say that Gambians probably are not ready for a military officer, I think that is will be not fair in this situation.
Okay. You gave example of General Buhari of Nigeria, but there is this saying in Nigeria, the two comings of Buhari. The first time he came to power was by force, and the second time, and his supporters will argue, was by force of argument. That was a democratic election. I remember when Buhari took over in 1984, I was not born then, but he said the reason why he staged a coup was because of the continuous ineptitude in Nigeria. He was overthrown, he came back. But looking at the history of this country and the history of the military rule in Africa, do you think from Gilchrist Olympio down to Nigeria, you look at Mali, you look at Guinea, and the Democratic Republic of Congo and so on, What will you do to convince the people of this country that you will make difference? You will be different from other military rulers?
Well, I'm sure you will understand. You will agree also with me that it's like, okay, during Jammeh's rule, we have witnessed series of abortive coup d'etats. You know, I was in the military, and I was at the helm of matters at the time. You know, I had comported myself. I have disciplined myself. I have understood that for us to be able to become, you know, leaders in the Gambia, if you want, there is only one channel. Okay. And that channel is not through the barrel of the gun. I was in the military, and I'm sure you're also in the Gambia. There have been a series of abortive coup d'etats. I was in the military. But not once will you hear my name associated with any of those coup d'etats. It doesn't mean that I was a puppet. It doesn't mean that I did not, you know, I was not there. I was there. But my belief at the time was this. I believe in the rule of law. I believe in democratic principle. And there's no way, and that is how I recruited myself. I believe that for us to be able to, the fact that Yahya Jammeh came through that way does not necessarily mean that any military officer can succeed that way to overthrow him. So me, in the ranks, my belief at the time was this. If I am to be the leader in this country at all, I have to go through this process. And that way, I knew that there's only one process, and that is to retire from the military and then join politics or join the ranks and use the channel. That is the only legitimate channel to lead to that leadership role. So for me, you know, yes, I was in the military, but I equally know very well that military rules, you have mentioned, you know, those military, like for instance in Nigeria. Yeah. You know, but we're talking about today, 21st century. The military rules are no more famous. Military, you know, coup d'etats are no more famous. So what we are talking about in the Gambia is we have just, you know, come out of a period that majority classify as a difficult period. Now, for me as a retired general to come in and claim or request Gambians to trust me, I think that will be a very, very easy thing, because I have a kind of a legacy. I have a record that is there for people to see that I have behaved well. I have disciplined myself. I have, you know, obeyed to be subservient to the rule of law, and then the military, civilian rule. So for me to, you know, join politics as a retired general, I don't think that is, in fact, that should be highly embraced.
Are we seeing another Obasanjo in the Gambia, or do you think will make a difference?
Actually, I am not using any of the previous leaders as my reference.
So who?
I guess I'm going to create my own path based on the circumstances, based on the situation that is prevalent in the Gambia. We have a unique situation. We have a leadership vacuum. You can say we need a politician who is, you know, articulate, a politician who has a foresight, a politician who is radical. But I want to choose that we need a leader. Gambians need a leader. A leader with a kind of a mindset that is, you know, unifying, somebody who understands the problem of the Gambia, somebody who can, you know, help the people, who can, you know, solve, you know, every, you know, part of that area that matters in our life. You know, we need a leader. I am not going to use any particular former leader as a reference, but I know, yes, put all of those people together, Nelson Mandela, you know, Thomas Sankara, you know, Obasanjo, Buhari, you know, President Jawara, you know, Mugabe. All these people at one point have, you know, embraced something that was, you know, great for their country. And for me to, you know, align myself to those styles of leadership that were accepted in those countries, I think that will definitely make a difference. But the most important thing is for us to understand And anybody who is going to be to lead the Gambia must understand the circumstances, the problems of the Gambian people, and be ready to solve those problems.
We have been hearing this quite often. There is this saying that all politicians are the same. They promise to build bridges even where there is no river. When they are looking for this position, they will tell us we'll build roads, we'll provide hospital, education, and employment. But at the end of the day, most of the time, those promises are not fulfilled. But another thing the critics said, you were chosen because there's a credibility problem in that gap, Gambian Action Party, because people don't have trust in your Mr. Bachili. That's why you are chosen to leave that party.
I still get to differ because I think Gambian Action Party have no credibility problem. I think from the word go, Honorable Bachili has made it very, very clear that he's not aspiring to become the flag bearer. No, there is a flag bearer who is going to come. That is what, he has been saying all this time. And I think he stood by his promise. So for me to come in is just to complement the party's efforts. I'm sure Honorable Bachili, being a very good son of the country and also being a concerned citizen like any one of us, has issues. I'm sure those are the things that you probably are referring to as dented the integrity of the party. I guess these are personal issues and they have nothing to do with the party because, we all have these issues in our life. But Bachili is an honorable person and he loves the Gambia, and then that is why he is doing all what he is doing, just to make sure that, there's a political party that will be there for Gambia and for the Gambian people. So for me to come in does not necessarily mean that the party is suffering from any bended image or Bachili himself is suffering from any bended image. I guess if you are in this type of position, you have to be very careful because critics will do everything possible to pull you down. And I guess that is what he is suffering from. But what Bachili is facing, 1,001 Gambians are facing the same thing. So by virtue of the position that he is occupying, being a public figure and having this kind of issues around him, I guess that is what is making his case a unique one. But, it has nothing absolutely to do with my coming or anything to do with the image of the party.
There are so many political parties coming up in this country after the change of government. And we have seen so many people vying into office. But the one key important thing is political. Do you have a political base in this country? You spend most of your time in the army. You are not well known in the country. Does GAP, the party, have a political base? And if yes, where?
Yeah, Mr. Wali, I guess this is a very interesting question because if you tell me that I'm not well known in the country, maybe your citizens must have led you to Senegal or maybe Guinea-Bissau, because I've served in the military.
Yeah.
And if you have not known me, if you have not met me, physically, you must have seen these ugly faces many times.
No, for me, I've been reporting about the military since many years ago. Even the time some of you were discharged to be sent to foreign service. But how about that ordinary person in the village there, hundreds of miles away from the capital, who is not even afraid with the military?
Yeah, but to aspire presidency or to become a president of the Republic of Gambia doesn't necessarily mean that everybody has to see you. What happened is that if I am not seen, for instance, the people in Kudang, when I dug them a borehole, you understand that all of them should see me before I dug them boreholes in Kudang. That's not my community. I'm miles and miles away from Kudang. In the suburb of Farafenni, when I dug them, when I built some women spent horticultural gardens for them and dug some of the communities in those areas, well, have they seen me? They have not even seen me, So it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be present. When I'm building mosques for people, when I'm doing good for people, most times they don't even see me. They don't even see me. They don't even hear my name. But I've been on the background because that is what I choose to do. Because I don't want to, be that type of person that will be telling everybody that, I'm the one who is doing this. So I believe that, for people not seeing my face, like when I was in the military also, does not matter here. What matters here is that What do I possess? What do I have that I can be able to convince that person who has never seen me, and yet I'm asking him to vote for me? I think that is what matters here, and I'm going to do that exactly. I will be able to talk to people, and I'm sure that with the solution that we are going to provide to most of the problems that the Gambia has today, they will be able to listen to us, and I'm sure they're going to fall into account.
In the event that you are elected president in the next election, what will you do in your first 5 years?
Just make it maybe in the first, few
okay,
years.
let me just say your first 90 days, because your party seems to be, yeah.
Well, that first 90 days. Usually, what I normally hear is that people like a new head of state assess the first 100 days.
100 days now.
Yeah, exactly. So what happened is, Gambia, we have a problem right now. The political climate is a little bit, marred with a lot of, controversies. Gambians are fragmented. The leadership of currently the political climate is such that, Gambians are aligned to politics or parties or affiliating to parties based on tribal line. This is not the Gambia that we know. This is not the Gambia that Saudada laid the foundation for. The foundation that we know is that Gambians are the same, regardless of how you look, regardless of where you come from, your ethnic or whatever background. We are all equal. Nobody can tell me that, a particular ethnic group is better than the other. We are all equal. And you go to any ethnic, whether it is in a predominantly Maniga community or Wolof community or Manjago community or whatever community, Gambians, what we know is that we are equal. But our political climate today is that our support to political party is based on where we come from and what is my ethnic group. So our approach, which is very significant for us. We want to unify Gambians. We want them, because the thing is that no matter how ambitious you are, if you want to do meaningful development to benefit all, people have to understand you. And then if you want to sell your idea, you have to unify people. They have to come together, regardless of ethnicity, regardless of religion, regardless of where they come from. This is what we know. The problem with us in the Gambia is that, we have these misplaced priorities. Look, the hard facts are this. During Yahya Jammeh's time, he has built us infrastructures. Gambia's probably it is not part of our first 2 or 3 priority lists to endeavor to build infrastructures. Yes, we need it. But our radical thinking is like this. We have the infrastructures already. For instance, there are 2 major hospitals that were built in Farafenni and in Guam. And there are major hospital in Banjul, RVTH. We all know the problem with that hospital. What we're going to do is just to make sure that we overhaul the whole hospital, just to make sure that we create a hospital that will be able to address all ailments and will be able to conduct all type of procedures. It does not matter what type of political ambition that you have, what type of development ambitions that you have. If you don't have a healthy nation, there is no way that you can move forward. And concurrently, our energy is a problem. These are issues that definitely has to go together. We have a problem. We have entertained policies in the Gambia that tied us to poverty. Our energy sector, we know that it is a problem.
Mr. Boja, let me interrupt you here. Africa, we have 2 problems. One is politician, one is the middle class. Because politicians will tell us all kind of promises when they are coming to office, and most of the time they don't fulfill them. Middle class, when the electricity is poor, they will buy standby generators. When the road is bad, instead of advocating to have a good road, they will buy 4x4, and they will send their kids to the best schools. What will you do differently if you are elected in your first 100 days?
Why can't we graduate from both? Because these are you are the one who is telling me that they are the problem. Politicians are the problems,
and the middle class.
And the middle class.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, why can't we divorce? Why can't we divorce from both? You want to tell me there is no other alternatives to this problem? The problem is this. We want to develop the Gambia, and there is a formula that we have. We have priority areas in our manifesto. We have areas that we cannot say, okay, we have to develop this area, after that this area, after that the other area. No. Our priorities sometimes cluster, areas. We make sure that, while this thing is on another, because, yes, I will sweet talk, because, we have to make sure that we sell an idea to the people, an idea that is doable, an idea that is possible. And these things that I am telling you, they are possible. Look, we are not, for instance, we are not endowed with natural resources that we are enjoying today. Of course, there are some. Don't judge me wrong. There are some. But look, even with the little resources, our collaboration with our development partner, there is a lot of funds that are coming to the Gambia. But because we are suffering from misplaced priorities, and that is why we cannot see where these funds are going into. And equally, we have all these ideas in mind, but we also want to make sure that as we are doing all these things, we also fight alongside corruption. Mr. Wali, if you know the scale of corruption that is taking place in a very nice fashion, corruption is taking place, and it is making Gambia look poor. We are a rich people. We are a rich nation.
But are you not part of that problem? Integral part of the problem. You were a senior military officer in the Gambian forces. You rose through the ranks up to a general. Did you in any way try to fight corruption during your time in the Gambian forces?
Yeah, exactly. If you know me, those who are around me, probably here I'm going to brag a little. If your listeners will bear with me, because you're talking about corruption. I mentioned this thing, and somebody quoted me that he said he cannot be corrupted. Yes, I tried as much as possible to do that. What I try to do is this. I don't want to be handling millions of dollars in my possession at the time as a commander, because I was in a privileged position, and in that position, in fact, the person that I succeeded, had that kind of problem. So I learned my own lesson. So in order for me not to fall prey to such or to repeat such mistakes, what I did was to make sure that, I try as much as possible not to allow myself to be in possession of large sum of money, because I thought this is one of the things that we can fight corruption. We have to substitute that mode of financial transaction with a better mode, with a better way, or with better ways. And this is what the Action Party has. We have a model that we want to use in that area. But like I was in the military, there's no way, Mr. Wali, I can say these things strongly with that strong conviction that there is no way that you can find me corruptible or corrupted anytime as far as my administration was concerned while I was in the military.
Okay.
No way.
Okay. Let's talk about come 2021 there is election, and there is no, for example, the country is going for second round. Which party do you think you will work with in a form of coalition among all the parties in the country?
That is, we are in touch even before 2021. We are in touch with political parties who definitely see us to be a good collaborator, a good partner as far as politics in the Gambia is concerned. So, for instance, like with regards to your question, there are political parties in the Gambia that probably, when we start to reveal our manifesto, people will understand that we are more, our manifesto is maybe nearly the same. So, like, for instance, we will join with parties that we share the same views, the same aspirations, and the same, approach to solving problems in the Gambia. So, time will tell which party will be, those type of parties.
Imagine, so you don't want to disclose any of those parties now? You don't want to disclose?
Exactly, not now, yeah.
Okay, I've kept you for a long time now. So finally, what will be your final message before we end this interview?
final message would be, Omar, I just want to thank you very much for this opportunity. You know, I still want to go back to your first question that you asked me, like a military officer, you know, coming to the political scene. You know,
yes, carry on.
Considering the fact that, you know, we have just come from a situation, you know, that Gambians classify as, you know, unpleasant and unbearable, you know. Yeah, I just want to make sure that everybody understands that I'm a retired general and I wasn't sacked from the military and compensated with the mission in the diplomatic service. I was redeployed from the military, but I was never sacked. I just want to make this point of correction.
You were discharged. You were discharged from the military and sent to foreign service.
Foreign service, exactly. And that is different.
I remember you were among the 4 generals who were discharged in the military 5-6 years ago.
Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I just want to make that point of correction because usually the type of language that we use also matters.
Yes.
If we are, you know, narrating stories. So I was in sacked. Sacked, I think, is a little bit unpalatable, you know, word to use here. But that is something that I want to correct.
I remember when your case came. When at the time I was working at the Observer, and the military spokesperson told me that 4 generals were discharged from the military, which means you and 3 others were discharged and we are sent to foreign service. But yes, you can continue.
Yeah, so that is one that I want to, you know, correct because I have seen, you know, newspapers saying I was sacked and compensated. That is a little bit, you know, not something that is good. And I just want to, you know, appeal to Gambia. Gambia Action Party is a party that it is coming, or it has come with an approach that is all inclusive.
Okay.
We have no boundaries as far as Gambia is concerned. The Gambia Action Party belongs to Gambia and Gambian people. You know, so our approach is all inclusive. It does not matter where you come from. And you know, like it is politics. We will not lie to Gambian people. When we say we're going to rule for 2 years, it is going to be 2 years. When we say that it is blue, we mean that we know that it is really blue. You know, and our philosophy, our approach, our mode of operandi, it is all, you know, about taking care of Gambian people, the problem of the youth, the electric problem that we have, the problems in agriculture, the health problem that we have, the environmental problems that we have. I am a strong advocate for the protection of our environment. Our environment is depleted rapidly, and nobody cares about it because we are all the time driving in our nice cars. Nobody cares about it. Look at our environment; is so native. This is something that we have solutions to. And then we have also people behind us who are great people, honorable people who love the Gambia and they are ready to see us through. And then, inshallah, come 2021, Gambia Action Party is the next government of the Republic of the Gambia.
Thank you so much, Retired General Lamin Bojang, for your time.
Thank you very much, Mr. Wali, for having me.
Thank you so much. That is Retired Lieutenant General Lamin Bojang there, who until recently was the Deputy Head of Mission at the Gambian Embassy in Russia. He was chosen to be the flag bearer of the Gambian Action Party. Well, viewers, that's all we have for you today. From me and my team, we thank you so much. Till tomorrow.